Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back to ETS2. As you might have seen from the video title, there have been some changes when it comes to the head tracking department from my setup. So I'll tell you the story, but first, let's go on a drive where we're doing that. We'll be driving from Kalamata to Patras here in Greece. 275 kilometers, I think it will be a good test. But anyway, let's get going. Still with our trusty classic truck. Start the engine. And hear those beautiful engine sounds. Okay, sounds good. Let's proceed. Alright. So, as I mentioned, the thing you're seeing right now, it's not TrackIR anymore. I'm actually using BeamEyeTracker. This is a software that actually uses my existing webcam, my 9-year-old webcam actually, to find where my face is, to track my eyes, and then translate those movements into the game, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, maybe first a question, why would I switch from TrackIR? As some of you might know, I've been using TrackIR since forever. I checked, I actually bought it 2016, so it's been almost... Did I hit? Maybe not enough head tracking. So I first bought it 2016, I've been using it for 9 years. And I actually have zero complaints when it comes to the accuracy. That has always served me well. The thing that's problematic for me has always been after I record or stream. So behind the scenes, right after I finish recording, the first thing I do without any exception is to actually remove the darned hat, darn cap. I've been wearing that cap for 9 years. I think I switched once, but I actually never got used to the feeling. It always felt like unnatural to me having to wear that cap in addition. And it's the first thing I removed right after recording. So it's not comfortable. And whenever I drove offline, no recording, I almost never used it. I would actually resort to using the mouse or my numpad for the camera movements instead of wearing the cap or the head tracking, because it's just very uncomfortable for me personally. And so I always wanted something else. I was always looking for something else. And interestingly, maybe they heard my thoughts somehow, but the people over at BeamEyeTracker, they actually reached out to me, sent me a mail saying, hey, you look like a good fit, and asked me to try out their software. So they gave me a copy. Thank you, BeamEyeTracker, for the copy. Asked me to try it out, see if I liked it. And it's actually pretty interesting, the concept of it, because it simply uses your webcam. And it actually doesn't need any other device aside from that. Like in TrackIR, you have this like IR sensor. With some of the other like Tobii, you need to buy the device itself, right? So this one is just the software, and it utilizes your existing webcam, which most of us probably already have, thanks to the 2020 events, right? Where almost everyone was in video calls or streaming at the boom and all that stuff. So we probably have a webcam, even an old one. So like I mentioned earlier, this webcam I'm using that's tracking my head is actually 9 years old already. It's the Logitech C920. And it's working very well, as you guys might see. I can look wherever I want, and there's almost no delay. And the accuracy, I can't find any fault in it either. Very nice. what I wanted to share though is a few tips on how to make it work better and more seamlessly in the sim. Because to be honest, when I tried it the first time, I was not sure if I was going to make a video out of it. Because if you stick to the default settings in the profile, I think it's not going to be a very nice experience. Is that guy headed straight for me? Wait. This is two-way apparently, okay? Let's squeeze ourselves in. Maybe use the head tracking to try and avoid any possible mishaps here. 1 second, guys. Okay. So I'll pause the game. We'll switch to the settings so you can see what I've done to improve the head tracking movements. Okay, maybe let's get over this hill. Let's find a nice spot to park, and then we'll go through the settings together so you can try it out. So you can check out the link below in the video description. That leads to their site where you can buy or try it. I believe they have a demo where you can try it for 1 day. I am not so sure about the details, but you can try it first. And then if you're interested, then you can buy it. It's a $30 piece of software. That's the only thing you need, right? You can reuse your existing webcam, and you don't need the fancy hardware anymore from other head tracking solutions. But yeah, you need to tweak the profile so it's nicely interacting with the sim. Okay, let's go and park here. I think this is a good one. Gas station. And then I'll show you my settings. This is probably a good enough spot. Let's find a shade here so it's not too hot. Somewhere here. Okay. Good. Those machine gun idle sounds. Good. Okay. So where do we start? Let's see. Let's go to the settings here, and you can check out Beam Eye Tracker. Okay, so I won't start from the beginning because the guys over at Beam Eye Tracker, they have a very comprehensive step-by-step instruction. So go through that. I won't go through it because it might change over time. So where I would start is after you go through the instructions they have, the tutorial, I'll give some tips to enhance the experience in Truck Sim. So here is the settings page for Beam Eye Tracker. I actually prefer, and those are my eyes. You can see, right? It's showing where I'm looking. Yeah. So what I would suggest is actually switching to this one. By default, it's head and gaze. I don't like it because you can set it up like wherever you look, the screen would also look there already. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I want to only track the head movements and not the eye movements. So only head, right? So that's what I set. And then the yaw range is basically looking left and right like this. Like if you look at my eyes here, this range here. So it's like the sensitivity. What I found is the 50 is a bit too limiting. Like I would have to look all the way to the right to see my side mirror. So I increased it to 70 and that's it. Yeah, everything else is basically default. I didn't touch them anymore. Okay. So that's on the Beam Eye Tracker side. Now, in addition, you would need to have the OpenTrack software because the Beam Eye Tracker acts like your camera. And then the OpenTrack is like the bridge between Beam Eye Tracker and ETS2. So this is the one that's capturing those movements. So you can see here on the left side, raw tracker data. This is what Beam is capturing, right? And then the game data is what it's getting translated, what ETS2 is actually receiving. So you can see some values are different, right? Because I did some mapping already. But if we stop this and I start with a default profile, this is probably where you'll start. Yeah. It's going to be very similar to the raw tracker in game data. And you can see, so that's my head, that octopus. It's actually moving wherever I go, which looks very nice, right? Very sensitive, very accurate. But if you just use this default INI and go back to the sim, this is how it looks, right? Let's reset that. I think this one, okay. So if you look right, yeah, it works, right? But it's kind of very fiddly. And you can see I can move like right, left, zoom in, zoom out. So it's when you're moving, this is what put me off initially. And I was like, this is too fiddly for me, and it's not really friendly. I just want to look to the right. I don't want all that fiddling. So what I did, and this might work for you as well, is basically, so let's say if I go to the truck sim profile here, what's that bell? I think the train is arriving again. The crossing we just passed. So if you go to the mapping, what I did was I removed all the X, Y, and Z axis. So something like, that's the default. I put the dot anywhere and then I just dragged it down. So that basically zeroes out the X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z is the, how do I share? Maybe let's go to the default. So X is this one, right? Moving left or right. Y is moving up or down. And Z is moving forward or backward. And I don't really want to move my camera. I want to stay on the driver's seat. I want to rotate my head, but I don't want to move my driver position. So that's why the yaw, pitch, and roll I basically kept. Actually, the roll I removed as well. But the XYZ, moving the seat, basically, I just removed. So when you go to the truck sim profile I have, the mapping, X, Y, and Z are blanked out, right? Flattened out, and the roll as well. Actually, the roll, I should flatten that out because I don't want that either. Because the roll is this one. And you don't really need that. So I kept it pretty basic, right? So it's literally the looking left and right, looking up and down. But you can see the octopus is always in the center of the axis, so it doesn't move. It doesn't shift. And so that's going to be a very nice setting. So if I go here, right, so it translates like this. It's not too fiddly anymore. And if I keep my head like this, then it's actually very calm. Almost like nothing's happening, right? If I need to look right, like so, look left, and that's it. Keep it basic. So that's what actually got me into the Be My Tracker. Because initially, it was too sensitive. It was moving all over the place, and I didn't like it so much. But after fiddling with the settings, then I was confident enough to actually record with this, and I was confident enough to totally remove it, the TrackIR from my setup. Now, one limitation I found is it's hard to look all the way to the left like so. So that's still the work in progress thing I would need to fiddle with. I think that requires some sensitivity setting tweaks, but it should be possible. I just haven't found it yet. Good. So with that, you have this eye tracking or head tracking that's pretty accurate, and you don't need to wear any cap, any sensor whatsoever. You just need your webcam. And in terms of the webcam, they're actually pretty flexible even, because they have multiple options. So the initial assumption is you already have a webcam, right? But some people maybe don't have a webcam. It's still possible. Not everyone does it. But everyone most likely has a phone. And your phone is probably either iOS or Android. What they actually have, if you're an iOS, if you have an iPhone, they have a dedicated app for you So you can download the Beam, I think it's called the Beam Eye Tracker app or Beam app. I actually downloaded it on my iPad and tried it out. And if you have a phone that's fairly recent that has the face tracking capability, that makes the sensor even more accurate. Yeah, so even if you don't have a webcam, if you have a phone, if you have an iPhone, you can use the iOS app and it will guide you through the settings. You just need to connect to the same LAN, right? So if you have Wi-Fi, if you have a router, then just connect to the same network and they will be able to connect to each other. And if you have an Android phone, I think they don't have an app, but what they do have is I believe the latest Android or the latest Android version, one of the recent Android versions, actually enable you to make your Android phone into a webcam. So you just connect your phone via USB to your PC, and I believe there's going to be an option to turn it into a webcam. So there you have a webcam already and you're all set for Be My Tracker. So either way, there are multiple options for you to try this out. And that's going to be a very flexible thing. So yeah, so far I've been using it. It's been a holiday here for the past 2 days. I've been driving pretty much the entire day. I've been driving from Greece to Germany, from Germany to Sweden in my vanilla profile. And I've been using Be My Tracker non-stop. And one tip I can give as well, there are some cases when the head tracking might not be the best solution, regardless of which solution, which software or hardware you're using. Sometimes it's just a bit too, like, you just want to relax and you don't want it to track your head, right? So I discovered that because, like, driving long distances, I actually got tired sometimes and I just wanted to rest my head and I didn't want it to track it. So that's possible in Truck Sim because of the settings that we have. So you have an option, and this is perfect timing. Oh, it's like I planned this. This kind of stretch of road, what I do normally when I'm on, like, in cities or when in skimpy roads where I need to look at my side mirrors constantly, right, look left and right, I have my head tracking on. But when I'm on highways like this and I don't need as much head tracking, you can actually turn it off seamlessly. So like this one, so I just turned it off. I go back to the center camera and it's going to be pretty stable, right? So now wherever I look, the camera stays wherever it is. And if I need to look at my side mirror from time to time, if there's some car passing, then I just use the numpad keys or map it somewhere else, right? So, and I can teach you that technique. And then when you need to look somewhere, you need to look at a sign specifically, then you can enable it seamlessly as well. Look at that, right? And then turn it off again, and then drive without the head tracking. So you don't have to do it all or nothing. You can have head tracking when you need it and turn it off when you don't need it seamlessly, right? You see the camera movements have been very smooth, and you can turn it on and off whenever you want. So it's not all or nothing. You have the freedom to get best of both worlds. So let me share with you my technique there. Let's see, where can we start? Okay, so let me pause the game again. And what you can actually do is, if you go to the options, it's a bit of a combination between the OpenTrack hotkey and the Truck Sim hotkey. Don't ask me why, but that's the best combo I've found so far. So in OpenTrack here, if you go to options, you'll see there's a center shortcut. And so that's the thing that centers your head. So bind the A button there, whatever button you're using. For me, I put it somewhere in the wheel. And so if I show you, that centering is actually this one. So if I'm looking like this, I want to center it there. Center it, there. So you can always adjust your head angle where the starting point is. So that's the centering. But wait, there's more. So if you have so you also need, in addition to the centering, which is here, right? You map that already. You also want inside TruckSim, keys and buttons, this enable head tracking option. Now I know that in OpenTrack there is this toggle as well, right? So you can turn off tracking using this, but don't use that. Trust me on this. I've tried it. When you want to turn off head tracking altogether or toggle it, turn it on or off, use this enable head tracking hotkey. Assign something there. So I've assigned it to my wheel as well. Right? So let me demo that, and I'll share what I'm doing as I go. So I'm resetting, right? Centering using the OpenTrack hotkey, like so, right? So I'm centering it, and if I want to turn off head tracking, I'm using the hotkey from ETS2, so I'm turning it off, and so that's turned off now. And why you want it in ETS2 is because when head tracking is off, then you can use the numpad. And so when head tracking is off, let's go there again. When head tracking is off here, so when you use this hotkey, it actually enables the camera movements you have, like these ones, the interior look hotkeys, the numpad keys. So you can see I've assigned some of those to my wheel because that's what I use on a regular basis, but you can easily just use the numpad as well. Right? So if you have head tracking off, if you've toggled it using the hotkey, which I've done, now we can use the numpad to look. And so when you're tired, you're drinking something, because when you're drinking, it detects your head movements and oh crap, that's not going to be good. There we go. So when you turn off head tracking, or when you have head tracking enabled, let me demo it for you. So let me turn on head tracking again using the hotkey and center it. And when you're drinking something, let me demo it. Right? It will actually adjust the camera, and that's not a big deal really. But if you're recording or you're streaming, that kind of puts people off. So if you're sensitive about that, you can turn off the head tracking, drink something, and turn it on again. But what I do, so I've turned off head tracking. I can use the numpad keys and then go and turn. But yeah, when turning like this, it's really, head tracking is the more optimal thing. But in a highway, once we're on a highway like this, then you don't really need head tracking as much. So you can turn it off, and then you can just use your num keys for the occasional side mirror checks, and then enjoy the stability of the camera as you go through and see the lines on the road passing by. There's always something relaxing in seeing those lines pass you by, and seeing that you're in the right spot, you're keeping your right angle, right distance to the lane, right? And whenever you need to spot something, look at something more, like if there's something interesting on the left side, then you use your hotkeys, center the camera, enable head tracking, and then look left, right? And then look right. And when you're done looking, you want something a bit more stable again, just hit the toggle hotkey for head tracking, and then center the screen. It's numpad 5 by default. And so those are the tricks I have so far. Now some of you might be using this already. Let me know in the comments if you are and your experience with it. And if you have tips, let me know in the comments as well. But yes, as I mentioned, so it's $29.99, basically $30 US, right, for the software. and you can click the link in the video description that leads you to the website. And if you buy it, so you can try it first, see if it works for you, try out the tips that I've mentioned here, and if you like it, please go back to the site and buy it from there directly. Don't buy it from Steam, okay? If possible, if that's my request, because when you demo, I think the demo is in Steam, but if you want to buy already, go to my link, use my link, and buy it directly from their site. Because if you buy it directly from their site, I would get a commission. Can't remember the percentage, but I get some commission from it. And if you want to help me out, if you want to help out the Beam Eye Tracker company, then buy it directly from them, so they get all the revenue, right? Because when you buy it from Steam, their Steam takes off a huge chunk. So if you can buy it directly, I would really appreciate it. But yeah, let me know how it goes, and hopefully it works for you. Now let's see how far we have to go. 105 kilometers. I think let's finish the trip. It's going to be a longer video, but if you're watching the channel, then chances are you already know the kind of format we have. We have long format videos, and that's just the style. That's just the way it goes here. So right now I have head tracking off. I can just look using the numpad. But whenever I need some constant looking left and right, maybe there's heavy traffic, maybe we're approaching an intersection like this where I need to check left and right to be sure, right? I can turn on head tracking, be a bit more aware of my surroundings. And I don't need any paraphernalia. I don't need my cap, I don't need some IR sensors, I don't need separate sensors on my monitor. What was that? Oh, I think we had a loan. We still have a loan. Yeah, crap. Okay. And if you like, then you can keep head tracking on like this always, because that way you can always look wherever you want. If you see an interesting city on the left, some nice buildings, some nice bridges, beautiful mountain ranges and everything, so you're more free to look around, right? But if you get tired and you want to keep it steady, then just use the hotkey I recommended. Toggle off head tracking and just use the numpad to center the camera, like so. And now you're a bit more free to move around without the game being affected. Very nice. Bit uphill here. A truck doesn't want to shift up. But yeah, so this is the combo I'm using oftentimes, especially offline when I'm just trucking on my own. I don't need to point anything to anyone. But if I see something like this that I want to look at, then it's so easy to switch to toggle on head tracking seamlessly and look wherever. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I haven't been using TrackIR since I moved to this setup, and I am not missing it. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to be using this moving forward. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you notice some jitteriness or some weird movements when watching? Because as the guy who's actually moving my head, it's all smooth for me. But let me know as the viewer if you find it more stable, if you find it more jittery. You might have to do some profile tweaking then. But yeah, it's one of the things I really learned. The software itself, I think the description they have is they're leveraging, like, using AI to track your head and whatnot. And to be honest, I find that really like good marketing. What do you call it? Copy, right? Good marketing styles, techniques. Because AI is all the rave these days, and it's probably true. Because most of the things these days are leveraging AI one way or another, and then putting it in the actual description makes it even more catchy. I think we should head right. Yes, okay, good. So that's where head tracking comes in handy. But even if I know that it's a marketing thing, or maybe it's probably true, but they still use it in marketing, right? Because it's catchy. Even if I know that, it's still effective. So, yeah, I'm really hooked. It's quite nice. And yeah, exiting roundabouts. This is very important to have head tracking, quick head movements, because the AI is not the best. They oftentimes would actually not let you out of the roundabout. They would try to squeeze in. Is this here? I think it is. Sorry, whoever's behind me in the roundabout. Good. We're almost there. Oh, can't believe I finished the trip. But yes, hopefully you guys enjoy. I know there's a big barrier to entry when it comes to like buying the more expensive hardware options. I can't remember how much I bought TrackIR for. Maybe $300. I can't remember the exact price, but it's quite expensive. And that the Tobii eye tracker is also very expensive because it has a dedicated special camera, right? And that's what makes it this beam eye tracker really attractive, right? That's the value proposition. That it tracks your head, it tracks your eyes if you want, without needing any extra stuff, any extra hardware. Where the heck am I going? Why did I turn right? Okay. The one thing is, no matter how good the head tracking is, close call. It will not help you if you have poor navigation skills. That's the lesson we learned. Okay, let's get here. Alright. Let's make sure we're not hitting anything there. But yes, it's just so liberating not needing to use a cap. We're almost late, okay. Someone's calling already. The boss is getting nervous. No worries, we're almost there. Palo Cargo, I think that's where we're delivering this. Good. So one more tip I can give you is because the software uses your webcam, right? To find where your head is and track it. So it is important to have proper lighting. Just imagine it like when if you're recording, if you're streaming, if you're talking to someone over video call, you normally want to fix your lighting, right? So they see you properly. Just imagine it that way, so it's very natural. So, one second, I need to focus because that parking is going to be very challenging. I think it's going to be a blindside reverse. Let's go through here, make a U-turn, and then reverse from the other side. But yeah, that's what I like about it as well, is because it utilizes the webcam. The lighting conditions are very natural, very easy to understand. Just make yourself properly visible in the webcam. You don't need anything fancy. Like right now, I don't have any special lights. I actually just have my curtains open to let in the sun. And that's it. Doesn't have to be like what they call it, those circular lights or any studio lights or whatsoever. Like natural light is more than enough, as long as the webcam sees you. What I noticed where it had trouble is when you are in pitch black setting, understandably, right? Because it uses your webcam. not anything fancy, no infrared or anything. So if the environment is pitch black, then it won't be able to see you. Simple as that. And it won't be able to track you. So use some light, any light, just so it sees you, and should be able to track your head movements properly. 1 second, because I can't see the line at all. Okay, I think so far so good. Let's see. Where the heck is the line? Maybe once we straighten out here. Okay, I think that's looking good actually. That shows some promise. Let's try and zoom in there. You can zoom in using the interior zoom key and then do your head tracking. Oh, it's a bit more fiddly actually. Be a bit careful there. Okay, here. Yeah, it's just so liberating having no cap on. I think these days the youngsters actually use the no cap as a different meaning, but for me, no cap is literal no cap. Let me know in the comments what that means these days, if you're in the updated with the lingo. The game didn't accept that. Okay, let's correct it. This one should be good. 1 second. So like so. There we go. Alright, that should work. That looks perfect actually. There we go. Okay. Lock it in. Neutral. Oh, we didn't have lights. Good thing no one caught us. Okay. Well, it's daytime. Depends on the rules here in Greece. Good. No damage? Okay, I'll take it. That's a good sign. And we almost leveled up. Awesome. Okay, so I hope you give this a try. Beam Eye Tracker. Use the link in the video description and buy direct from them. And you will help me out. Give me some commission. You will help the company out. Get their full revenue. And you will help yourself out with this nice seamless head tracking just using a webcam. And nothing else fancy. Yeah, okay. So that's going to be it for now. Let me know in the comments. I will be looking forward to your experiences. Catch you in the next episode. Clumsy trucking, everybody. Have a good one. And bye-bye.